Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, is brought to you by Scoville.com. Try Scoville.com's hot sauce subscription box, where you pick the heat, flavor, and food pairings you want in your box. Get 1 or 3 bottles delivered to your door each month. Choose your heat level, flavor profile, and food pairings. And it's completely customizable each month. You no longer have to worry about getting sauces you don't like or won't use. Scoville.com specially curates each month's box based on your personal preferences. And best of all, High Desert Sauce Co., Butterfly Bakery of Vermont, and Irish Spike's unique hot sauces are all available at Scoville.com. Welcome to part 2 of our conversation from last week. Welcome to Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers. So I'm kind of excited about this next portion because you've tickled around it a little bit. I'm not going to hold you to and push you to be specific, okay? But what are some of your hot sauce hot takes? Things that everybody else is on board with these days, but you're not.
I'm not on board with vinegar base. You knew that was going to be one. I think it just needs to be more.
Me too, yeah.
Just needs to be more. And it's not that I'm not on board with this. I'm not on board with it. I don't like ghost peppers. I don't like them. Everybody loves them. I don't like the way they taste. I love a habanero. Give me a smoked reaper. I have a fermented scorpion. I love those flavors. It's just like, okay, 3 things I don't like, right? 5 spice, that vegetable stuff that I won't even touch, and ghost peppers. They just don't work for me.
Wow,
yeah.
Interesting. Everybody's got different flavors.
Yeah. I don't, and I have people that are like, oh, they're really fruity. And I'm like, I've never found one that is, by my palate, right? By my palate. What else am I not with? I don't know. I think people are doing things that are silly with hot sauce. It's kind of fun and entertaining, but somebody said to me, oh yeah, I tried blah, blah, blah on ice cream. And it was one of the hot sauces. And I went, oh, okay. We already did that. By the way, Husky Deli did that. They mixed it in with a coffee ice cream, but I'm like, and it was fun, but I'm not going to market that. Right. What else am I not in with? I'm not in with putting crap in them. How's that for a nice general term? I don't want to eat that. I don't want to see if it's fluorescent green or some other color that isn't in nature or not the color of the ingredients. Don't eat it. I don't want to eat it, right?
That's my favorite hot sauce. Kills me that it's,
I was talking about. That's exactly the one I was talking about.
I love this sauce and it kills me. And I love it so much that I tried to send some to Claire and say, Claire, make a version that's not like this. I'm actually working on it myself now because I got a hold of, we've been working with Tuna Maker out of Washington. They're so good. And I think we're going to be able to come up with something.
And I would buy that one if it wasn't fluorescent green.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just not.
But I'm just like, that's not real. Don't you? My husband doesn't either. I do. But I'm like, I don't eat anything like that, right? I'm not going to eat any foods that you can see that it's like, oh, that's fake. I know a lot of people love extracts and use extracts, and please don't take this personally. If you use extracts, I just don't like them. I don't like the flavor. I don't like that aftertaste. There's a couple of them that are pretty famous that taste like burnt tires to me. And it's that.
I like that. That's a good
yeah. And it's the extract, right? I tried to do an extract for our spicy mayo, and I couldn't get to it. And I'm like, well, even though you're a non-GMO and a highly rated food flavor house, I can't get to that with an extract. I just don't like the flavors of them. Those would be mine. Those are mine. And I know a lot of people use extracts and people love it, but I'm like, again, I like my food to taste like food.
It's one of my, my thing is if there's a good reason to use it, I'll use anything, but I have to find a good reason to use it. And that's why there's so many areas that I haven't gone because no good reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
All right. So it's Hot Sauce Show and Tell.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Another woman-owned hot sauce. You ready for me to unveil who it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Marie Sharp. I love
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this smoking one. This smoking Marie is my favorite.
I don't know if I've had that one.
Oh,
I don't think I have
trust
either.
me. I don't know where you can get it. These all came from Belize. I was in Belize and I brought back several of them. I know you can get it here, probably online somewhere. But Smoke and Marie, and it is smoky and hot. It's classic Marie Sharp. And that's it's always been one of my favorites, Marie Sharps, but this is it for me.
Nice. That sounds good. I brought a different smoky one. I brought Sam Souse Smoky J.
Oh yeah.
Which I haven't opened yet, so I haven't tried it, but I'm excited to try it. I opened up some of his other ones, and they were really tasty. And this is the one he had on Hot Ones, and that has chia seeds instead of the xanthan gum, which seems like he did well with the texture. So
yeah, we talked a little bit about that because I do use xanthan gum. That's one of my controversial things. It's a chef thing. I just want it to all be the same when people.
Same.
Yeah. But he's a good dude. We actually chat a lot, and I was really entertained by this fact that you got halfway into the Sam sauce. There was a slight pause as to whether you should say it the way everybody else says it or just say it normal.
Oh, did
Sam
I?
sauce. I brought Funky's Dark Star. That's such a great guy. And I know you guys are good friends.
We are.
We talked a lot. I didn't get to see you as much because I couldn't get over there when we were at Portland. But I got to see him a little bit more, and it was really nice to chat. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I hang out with the." And so it was like I told him, "Tell her I'm coming over there."
When they come for the Portland show, we're out in the country now. We moved to the country, and I have a spot for their trailer that they plug in, and we just leave the warehouse door open just so they can go in and use the restroom.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
nice.
Super easy. Yeah, they're a great family.
Yeah, really good people. And a funny thing, you were talking about being all dressed up. It reminded me as soon as you said it, how people were talking about, how everybody thought you made a lot of money. And you saw the red suit. I don't know if you remember it, but that's my thing. Everybody knows me for my red suit. And I wore that same red suit that entire weekend.
It's hot too.
It was very hot. And I think it stood in the corner for a few days while I recuperated. Totally stood
on its own. Yeah.
It was in pretty bad shape, but I had somebody say something off the cuff about my really nice, expensive suit. And I'm like, it's $79 on Amazon. Not a nice suit at all. Oh, we've never had a guest like this on the podcast.
I don't think she like doesn't come down while I'm doing the show, and she just did, and she ignored me for a minute, but she just came over, so I figured I'd let.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, this is my cat Cora, and I figure she could say hi. So
hi, Cora. Oh my goodness, she's beautiful.
And since we're talking about chef things, she is named after the chef Cat Cora.
Cat Cora. So, got it. I wondered.
When we adopted her from the Humane Society, they had named her Paula Dean, and we were like, nah, that doesn't quite fit. And we were like, but let's go with the chef theme. And we were like, Cat Cora, that's perfect.
Oh, I love
that. Yes. Are you bored? Are you ready for me to set you down?
No, just scratch my ear.
I immediately clicked to Marie Sharp so I could start looking it up, and now I got to find my questions again. Oh, here we go. Do you want to ask Claire?
What's next for you, and where do you see Secret Aardvark going?
Good grief, if I knew that answer, I'd probably sleep at night. I don't know. It's a good question, right? I have a hit list or a target list of grocery chains I'd like to be in that I'm not. And I have places I'd like to be where I'm not. And you kind of get to the point where you're like, how much of that do I want to do? So, and again, I'm not 20. or 30. I'm not going to go any higher than that, but I'm none of those. Or 20 and 30 added together. So, I don't know. I mean, I have a fun company. We do a lot of fun things, right? We have a fuzzy blue aardvark. Talk about a costume that's hot. Yeah. Yep. She has ice packs that she can wear inside and a fan in her head.
I'm Claire George. I own Butterfly Bakery of Vermont. We make hot sauce, mustard, cookies, and granola, and 100% of our products are made with Vermont ingredients. The thing that I hear most often from people is that my hot sauce tastes like the peppers that are in it. We do really simple recipes that don't get too crazy and nitpicky, just to really accentuate the flavor of the peppers that are in there. The unique thing about our hot sauces is how much we feature the farm and the relationship with the farm and really bring the terroir of Vermont to our hot sauces. I am pretty sure I am the #1 purchaser of Vermont-grown chili peppers. I would love it if there would be a legitimate pepper market in Vermont where people would know Vermont for its peppers. We're all better for supporting each other. And I think that part really shows itself with the collaborations that I do with the other businesses and the other farms, that I love working together and coming up with new ideas and presenting each other with new challenges. And I think overall, that's the attitude here. And I absolutely love it because that's my attitude. I try to live my life with love. The ingredients that I use, I would say that my values are reflected in that I use ingredients that, again, feel good, feel loving, feel supportive. The relationship with the farmer was how it all began. If I changed the reason for it being, if I went out and bought some commodity peppers, it might not be as good.
You can find Butterfly Bakery of Vermont hot sauce, mustard, granola, and cookies at butterflybakeryvt.com.
But it's I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what the next step is. I kind of wait for it to happen. I've got a couple things that I'm looking at and I'm like, ooh, that could be a real deviation from what I'm currently doing. Risky. I'm kind of a risk taker, so that's not, good God, I left an office with benefits and a salary to do this, right? So I'm a little bit of a risk taker. And so there's some things I'm looking at. I will tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to ever open my own restaurant. How about that?
Good choice.
Because you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I don't know what the next thing is going to be. I don't even know what the next product's going to be. I'm working on one right now. We're sponsoring a local team, right? Portland Pickles, and I'm working on I'm working on a sauce for them. It's fun. Is that going to be like my next big sauce? No, we'll make it. We'll make it for them. It'll be fun. It'll be something that'll be Portland pickle sauce, right? Or maybe they'll hate it and they'll be like, no, thank you. And that's okay too. But I don't know what the next thing is. That's a really good question. People were like, oh my God, you did Taco Bell. What's the next thing based on that? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's see who calls, right? Because I don't know what the next thing's going to be. I will tell you, I am getting older every morning that I wake up. I am a day older. And I don't expect to be doing this when I'm 90. I don't want to be, still slinging sauce at that age. So I don't know what will happen or when that'll happen or where we'll go from here. But, I'm kind of waiting for a sign.
Yeah.
And we export. And so things are a little tenuous right now. Yeah. So I'm kind of waiting to see how things shake out too. And let's face it, for a lot of people, hot sauce is not a required thing, meaning, when they go to the grocery store, feeding their family is what's required. And it's tough. And so, I don't know where the hot sauce market's going to go. The predictions are it's still going to keep going up. I think that's kind of blowing smoke if you want to know just my unpaid opinion, right? I don't think it's going to keep gaining 8%, 12%, 20% this year. I think it's going to be hard this year. I think inflation's going to go up, and I think that people are going to be struggling, right? And how do we figure out how to fit in there? I don't know. I've got some ideas, but a good example is we were at a breakfast place today, and my husband shook up the aardvark sauce, and he goes, "They're watering this down."
Ooh.
And it wasn't a lot, but it was a little, right? It was towards the end of the bottle. And if they haven't shook it, right, they maybe need to do that. But he's like, it smells fine. It tastes fine. It's just a little watered down. I think that's just a sign of what's going on out there right now. Restaurants trying to make margin, people trying to make margin, in their own house, with their own bills. How do I come up with enough to buy a bottle of sauce? So I don't know. I don't know where we're going from here. Maybe I'll burn it all down. Oh, wait.
Always a choice.
Always a choice.
I was so close to saying something really positive, and then it was perfect timing. I'm going to say it anyway. So I like to think that we have actually during these times a really important job, because I think that people have to eat food that they wouldn't particularly like.
Yep.
Because it's just and a bottle of hot sauce doesn't cost as much, and
Yes.
they can put that on the meat or whatever that they don't really like. And it's our job to make it so that they are able to.
Yeah. And we've been in business through obviously the pandemic and through the 2008 recession. I started my business around the same time you did. I didn't start making hot sauce until about 2011. And in both like recessions or both kind of moments in time, food was what people gravitated toward. They couldn't afford to go on trips, or they couldn't afford to buy the expensive thing that they wanted to buy. And so there's safety and comfort in food, and it becomes an affordable luxury to buy. If you can't buy the expensive watch, buy the expensive bottle of hot sauce that is going to last you for a little while.
Yeah.
And so it does. My feeling is that it's not recession proof, but I feel like it's got more of a buffer than a lot of other things.
I think you're right. I mean, we saw during COVID, everybody ran out and got rice and beans, right? Bags and bags, pounds and pounds of rice and beans. And then they got them home and they're like, what the hell do I do with that now?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let me help you with some recipes there, right? And it was, I mean, I know people who hardly cooked at all. And during COVID, then they ended up with, a 25 pound of flour. And I was like,
or a hot sauce company.
Every
single company we have on
here. Every one of them. Yes. And I think that's a sad thing, is I think we're going to see a lot of those people go away, and that makes me sad, because it's innovative, and, I love seeing new hot sauce companies, and I love seeing new flavors. And I just hope that we can keep that momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree. So let's see here. Where are we at? I'm used to having all three of us kind of bouncing off on each other. Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, is brought to you by Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces. I'm Spike, the owner and executive saucier. Our sauces are handmade in the Pacific Northwest using the best possible ingredient. We believe that hot sauce equates to a balance of sensational heat coupled with a robust and complex flavor profile. Live your hottest life with Irish Spikes. Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces are available at saucecult.com. Do you have any questions for us?
Where do you think hot sauce is going?
I think there is still growth in hot sauce. I think that the industry is mainstreaming. So it was a niche market for a long time, or craft hot sauce specifically. And I think that craft hot sauce is becoming more mainstream and more acceptable, for the mass market. And I think that as a result, we're seeing the closure of a lot of niche hot sauce, stores, distributors, the entities that supported the niche hot sauce market, because why would you have a hot sauce specific distributor if you can just get it from your KeHE or your Cisco? And so I think that I think that it's mainstreaming. I think that we're following in the footsteps of the craft beer industry. What we haven't seen that the craft beer industry got into is the acquisitions. We're not yet seeing we're not seeing that the big food companies see value in the small brands. And so, I mean, there was McCormick bought Cholula, but that's kind of as close as we've gotten with that.
Yeah.
I think we will see that. I just don't know, what is the thing that convinces Unilever or Kraft that they want to buy a small hot sauce company and not just put a distinctive looking label and pretend that it's a small hot sauce company. And I don't know enough about that side of the market to know when that kind of will start happening. But I think that the whole market is mainstreaming, and we have to shift our attention to where the market is and not necessarily where the market was.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I can tell you one of the things that is a driving force behind some of those things, because they have come to me at various times. It's that 10 million mark. They're like, we don't really buy anything that's under 10 million. And I'm like, well, I'll let you know when I get there, but don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's not easy to get there. You have to sell a lot of sauce to get to 1 million, right? That's what I tell people. You don't understand how many bottles of sauce that means, right? And it's a lot. It's a lot.
Especially as you scale, the bottles get cheaper. Yeah. The margins get smaller on each
They
bottle.
They do. And I mean, I do think you're right. I think that'll happen at some point. And I think that Chatterton, Chatterton bought Cholula, and then Cholula sold it, or then they sold it to McCormick. And I think that was the first big kind of change like that. So.
Yeah. And they sold for 9x revenue, which is, that's a growth sort of acquisition.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of,
it's Cholula.
I mean, but how many of us was Cholula the gateway hot sauce to eating?
I'm from Southern California. You can't ask me that one.
I'm from Northern California, and it absolutely was for me. I mean,
really?
we had Pick a Pepper, and we had Dave's Insanity and all of those in our house too. But Cholula was the one that I was like, I would see it on a table in a restaurant and be like, oh, this is a restaurant I want to eat at, because it's not Crystal or Louisiana or Bright Green.
Yeah. Same. I'm the same. It was really my first entry into hot sauce, right? I was like, ooh, this is authentic hot sauce. Right. I remember thinking that
it's
is
wooden.
Awesome.
It's got a wooden top.
That wooden top, man. That's brilliant. Really brilliant.
Yeah.
The for me, it was the Valentina's big giant bottle. When you walked in, if you saw that big giant bottle, that was like, oh, that's the place.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. But still same thing.
And Cholula's huge in Mexico, which I find interesting, because like I feel like a lot of Mexican cooking puts the spice in the food rather than saucing it on top. But Cholula is huge.
Yep.
Absolutely huge in Mexico.
Did it start there? I don't know enough to know where it started.
I don't know either. I did do a bunch of research on Cholula some years ago for a client. We're a co-packer as well. Mm-hmm. And they wanted a sauce that tasted like Cholula. So I did a bunch of research on it. But I actually don't remember where it started.
We have a sauce called Happy Taco, and I always tell people it's my answer to Cholula Tapatio. Pico Pico was my favorite, even more than the Valentina. I like Pico Pico. It had a little bit more depth to it. As Zach would say, it's too salty.
It's in my fridge.
Oh, there you go. I love Pico Pico.
It's in my fridge. Yeah.
So that's, so my answer to the where's hot sauce going, I think it's still going to go up, but only on a global level, not on a national level. I think we're leveling out nationally, but I think globally there's a lot of places that aren't, giving something away here a little bit, but the way we do our art is pretty known because I pick artists around and then that now aren't necessarily an artist. I want to try and get something else out of this. And what I've started doing recently, Claire's heard this 1,000 times, I'm sorry, Claire, is and everybody else on the podcast, is that I'm making the sauce with the artist. So I use their culinary likes and dislikes to change my thinking. And so I've been working with somebody out of a couple of people out of Colombia, and they don't eat very much spice in Colombia. And I found that out, but they're starting to. And I found a couple of other countries that are like that. One of the ladies there brought some of our sauce to her. Actually, her mom brought our sauce to a sandwich stand, and a guy walked up and said, "I want all of those. I want 6 bottles." And so I've got a lady there. I'm just teaching her how to make one of our sauces so she can make a buck. I don't care about it.
Yeah.
Go make a buck. She's an artist, it's great. So I think it'll be fun. Irish Spikes will be there. I told her I'll send you the labels,
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah. But the fact that there's a country there and there's countries all around the world that still don't have a lot of spice being used makes me think that we're going to still see some rise. I don't know. We'll
I think as people travel, because that's the thing that's really what drove spice, right? Was people traveled and they began to see, oh, I can try it. Not just Mexico, but other places, right? Belize, right? How long has Marie Sharp's been around, right? Forever. And I think people started to travel and started to try that. Well, it's not just the United States that was traveling. Other people are too, right? I spent 8 weeks in Southeast Asia after I quit my day job. Best decision I ever made. 8 weeks with backpacks in Southeast Asia. And we met and hung out with Australians and Germans and, all these people, not kids. Some of them were kids. And they're lovely too, but they were so excited about hot sauce. And I think that's because they travel.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice. I'm checking something. I can't remember. This is going to be a little controversial. I'm sorry to say this, because there's Melinda's and Marie Sharp's, and there's the big thing about but one of the two of them, and I think it was Marie Sharp's, trolled us, and it was one of the best things ever.
Whoa.
Yeah, one day I just put up a special, and then the later that day I look and I see it was Marie Sharp's USA had reposted our story and said ha 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 ha, and I have no idea, like, from this day I have no idea where it came from or anything. It just was there. But it was I've done some great things in this business. It was really nice working with Alton Brown, Andrew Zimmern. Our hot sauce got made into an ice cream. That's fantastic. Marie Sharp's trolling us, number one.
Yeah. And did they mean that? Maybe they meant that in a nice way.
I think they did. I genuinely think they did. It was great. And we got a lot of sales from it. So thank you, Marie Sharp's.
Nice. Nice.
We met the grandson, I think it was. My husband did. He gave Kip his card and he's like, when you come to Belize, it was our honeymoon, so we didn't do this. But when you come to Belize, we want you to come to the plant. We want you to come visit. And we almost did, but it was like, I'm trying not to work in this 10 days.
Yeah.
Which is a long time for me not to work. And I'm like, I'm trying really hard not to work. And I didn't bring a laptop and, so we didn't go, but I kind of regret not going because that would have been fun.
I love seeing other facilities.
Yeah, me too.
It's just my absolute favorite.
Me too. But we would have gotten as far as her plant. And then people would be like, what'd you guys do on your honeymoon? Well, we went to Marie Sharp's and Stacy never left.
Yeah.
There's that. They make a grapefruit habanero that I think is fantastic. Really, really, really good.
Yep. Yeah. I like her stuff. And I like that, it's a family company and started in a place that's, not necessarily where you would expect it to start as far as a woman owned. It's a woman, right? She started it. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yep. It's a great story. And I love that they trolled you.
God, that was seriously one of the best. I think ice cream came second. Sorry to everybody else that I mentioned, but ice cream and Marie Sharp's. I think Alton, I know, would be okay with that. And so would Flavor Balance Heat is brought to you by High Desert Sauce Co. out of Tucson, Arizona. Zach is the owner and creative mind behind High Desert Sauce Co.'s hot sauces. He says, at High Desert Sauce Co., we make sauces that we love. The balance of bold heat and fresh flavor is the heart of our philosophy. We keep it simple by using the best ingredients we can get our hands on and letting the natural flavors run the show. High Desert Sauce Co., just the good stuff. Visit High Desert at hdsauceco.com. Speed round. I'm excited about this because these are my fun questions. I like these, especially when some of them I know you really won't answer, and I'm kind of happy about that. It's okay. You can just pass. All right. So you win the lottery. What's the first hot sauce related thing you buy? That's
a really good question. Hot sauce related thing, huh? What's the first hot sauce? Ooh. Is this really hot sauce related though? First thing I'm going to buy is a fast car, paint it red, and put Secret Aardvark on the side. Is that a hot sauce thing? Is that what you were expecting?
Yeah,
that's the first thing. Like something obscene, like a Ferrari. Yeah.
That's the most macho hot sauce related thing that Secret Aardvark has ever done.
I'm doing it, and I'm driving it really fast. Yeah.
That's awesome. If you had to give up the hot sauce business, but you could do anything else, anything you want, what would it be?
I'd be a travel guide somewhere.
Oh, I like that.
Tasting hot sauce.
You get to use only one sauce for the rest of your life. It's Desert Island hot sauce. What would it be?
And can it be mine? Okay, then Marie Sharp Smoky. Without a doubt.
That's awesome. If you had a sample, by the way, mine still is yours, Claire. Claire makes an amazing cilantro onion that I just love. I love it so much.
Nice. I'm going to have to try it because I love cilantro.
Awesome. Well, we could definitely do a trade if you're interested in trading sauces and such. Sure. I will say that our sauces are vinegar based. And this particular batch of cilantro onion, we just had a complaint that it was too vinegary. So wow. I know, I don't think it was, but this was just a complaint that just came in. I mean, we made it a while ago, so nobody else has complained, but yes, I would be happy to send you some stuff.
Well, you use ingredients that are like, I mean, they're really,
we source.
It's going to be different.
Yeah. No, we source all of our produce directly from small farms, and we do all sorts of,
And you know what I mean by vinegar based. I'm talking, we got those big names up there, right? I don't want any of them suing me because I'm bad mouthing them, but Crystal, Frank's, Red Hot. Yeah. I'm talking about Tabasco.
We don't do that.
I genuinely badmouth them all the time on here. I had another career height was one of our customers wore our shirt through the tour for Tabasco.
Yeah.
No pictures. All right. So let's see. If you had a sandwich named after you, what would be in it and what type of heat would you use? It can be any kind of heat. It doesn't have to be hot sauce.
Yeah. Okay. Now you're going to find out just how weird I probably am. I would probably do a peanut butter and spicy kimchi sandwich and grill that.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the most original ones we've had. Thank you. I love that.
Try it. It's really good, by the way.
Yeah, I will try that. I've actually got some kimchi that a friend of mine just made and brought to me a couple days ago in my fridge.
Needs to be spicier kimchi, not mild kimchi. It needs to be spicy kimchi.
It's really good too. Yeah. It's good stuff. Let's see. If you could go back in time and change one thing about your business journey, what would it be?
Well, I don't even know what that would be. One thing I would change. I would not pay attention to that person that told me that I needed to change my bottles and my label because they weren't pretty enough. Because I spent some time going down that road trying to change us into a pretty hot sauce before I said, well, I won't say it on this podcast, but before I said, that's not what I'm going to do. But I spent a lot of time doing that, like trying to figure out, okay, how do I make us pretty and how do I make us, all those things. And those are the things I would change, or the things that I listened to somebody else, right? And tried to fit And then I wasted all that time. I could have been doing something else, way more fun.
Yep.
Seriously. Yes. Let's see. What's the best business advice you've been given?
A really good friend of mine, he owned a pizza, several pizza places here in town. And he said to me, Stacy, find yourself an accountant, find yourself a bookkeeper. And that was the best advice ever, ever. And I did. And she's still with me and she's fabulous.
That's fantastic. I'm lucky. It came with ours built in because my business partner, and they're great. I love it. Let's see here. God, you can tell I'm getting old. Let's see. I love this. Okay, you ready? If you had to physically fight another hot sauce company owner, who would it be and would you win?
Matt Minnie, because he's such a nice guy. He's such a nice guy. He'd let me win.
You know, that's not the first time we've had that answer and that reason. That's awesome.
Yep.
It says it's a great thing for Matt. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Such a great guy. Let's see here. If you could collaborate with any other hot sauce company, who would it be?
We have a very small company here in town that's woman owned. It's called Sao Noi, and they've got jerky, but what they really do is, you're going to look it up, aren't you? Mm-hmm. They do chili oils, and they do some amazing ones. And I would love to, and they're good friends of mine. They're young, the mom and the young women, they're good friends of mine. I would love to work with them because I think what they do is so amazing. I am not going to make chili oils because I can't compete with that, because what they do is so fabulous. And that's who I'd really love to work with.
Can I ask, how do you spell that?
Sao, S-O-I, Noi, N-O-I, I believe. I can look in my pantry because I've got some.
I'll find it on there. That's good enough. And we might have to ask them to be on the podcast.
They're fabulous, fabulous people.
Thank you. I always love that stuff. And then see, if you had to pair, I think this is, I might not be. No, okay. If you had to pare down to only one sauce from your line, what would it be? Now, it does not have to be according to sales. It's just what you love.
No, it'd be the habanero. It'd be the AARDVARK sauce. It'd be the OG. Are you kidding? People would hunt me down and kill me if I didn't.
Yeah. I might.
They came to my door when we changed the label.
Oh my goodness. I mean, okay, I got to say this. I might cut this out if you want me to, okay? But I love everything you've do except one thing. When the words went all the way across and you couldn't see them, it used to drive me crazy because I do all that stuff. I do all of our labels.
Yep.
And so it used to drive me crazy, and now it doesn't. Is that the change that you made?
No, I actually took the ingredients and put them in the correct order.
Oh my goodness.
Because there were 4 or 5 things that were out of sequence, but it was about the time that change happened. I went through and completely redid the labels. I fixed a number of things, and there were things that I was like, that's not right. Why is it like that? And so I changed it, and people were like, you changed my aardvark. And I'm like, no, I didn't. And they're like, yes, you did. I looked at the label and the ingredients aren't the same. And I'm like, well, they are the same. They're just correct now. But I had people come to because the address was on the website, knock, knock, knock on my door.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you change the label? When did you change the ingredient list?
We were in Sri Lanka. When were we in Sri Lanka? I don't remember years. I'm horrible. 2000 what? He says 2018. 17 maybe.
And what was?
He doesn't know either.
What were the out of order ingredients?
It was like, I can't even remember, honestly, and I don't have a bottle here to even look at it. It was sort of like there were tomatoes and roasted tomatoes and they just weren't in the right order. Right. It never changed. It's just when we originally took those labels into who our label maker was at one point, they were they did them wrong, right? And I didn't catch
Yeah.
it. It was just out of order. All the
Yeah.
ingredients were there. It's not like mustard was first and suddenly it became 8,
Right.
right? But it was little tweaks and little changes, but enough that somebody was convinced that I'd changed the recipe. I'm like, no, I just corrected the label. And then we got rid of those with the words that were rolling all the way around. We also cleaned up the front, and that's when we went from that old type that I originally did years ago in 2024, right? We went from that type to the type we've got now on it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a full label change. The aardvark changed a little bit. We made his ears more appropriate to an aardvark, less of an anteater, little tiny tweaks, right? But people were convinced I'd totally changed it. And they're like, I tasted it against the one in my fridge. And I'm like, it's the same. It's exactly the same. Oh, and I think we added non-GMO to it at the same time. So we made a bunch of changes, right? And then I went to Sri Lanka on vacation, and people were freaking out. And I didn't know. I was in Sri Lanka. My team knew.
Next time you know what to do. Make the change, get out of town.
That's right. So far away where you have very little Wi-Fi. Well, at that time, I'm sure they have much better Wi-Fi now. But
probably. You know what? You just reminded me 2 things that completely have to do with your sauce. And again, I might take this out if you want me to. So when we switched over to these, which you would hate this sauce because it actually has a ton of 5 spice in it. No, everybody's got their taste.
Yeah.
It's the thing. I measured your labels to find out exactly how the size. And then when we did the sauce for Alton Brown, that was the first sauce we did in these bottles because he was worried about, it was on tour and he was worried about breakage. And so we switched from Woozies to these, which I'd always intended to do. We had one of his guys called us. It was like an FDA lawyer. He had been with the FDA and now he's a lawyer, and he wanted us to move things around. And he wanted the address to be underneath one specific spot. And I pulled out your bottle and went, click, click, sent it to him and said, they're all over the place. Do I need to do this? Cause it's about ready to be printed. And they back down. So thank you.
That's
again.
right. That's why that guy called me. No, I'm kidding.
You know what? At the end of that phone call, I don't know if I've ever told this on here. At the end of the phone call, the guy goes, "Isn't it really cool that we're working for Alton Brown?" I'm like, he's just a guy, man.
He's
just a guy. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, it's, there's requirements you have to follow. We try to follow them, right? It's the font size and all of those. But there's some things that just don't make sense. And if it's not required and it doesn't make sense, then make it make sense is what I always try to do.
And it's not required. What he was asking was not at all. He was just trying to push things into being too far. So it was like,
well, and the restrictions about where everything has to be on your label have to do with labels over 44 square inches, which is way bigger than any hot sauce label's ever going to be.
I'm never going to make one that
big. Wherever you want. It's all primary label.
Exactly. So, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We're I like this. This is going to be a good one because I'm interested in your answer. So describe your favorite hot sauce from your line without saying a single ingredient or heat level.
Favorite one from my line. Does it have to be one you'll know? Trying not to come up with anything that gives it away too well. Nope, that's going to tell you right off who it is. Are you going to guess who it is based on that?
I mean,
no,
we've never done that before. Maybe we should be doing that, Claire.
Gosh.
So I'm using this one because I'm not the generation for this, but I happen to love it. And so I'm going to go with this Taco Bell.
Yeah, perfect. That's awesome. I love that. Makes sense to me. That's fantastic. And I love that sauce too. Oh my goodness. I love that sauce.
Well, I don't know if you've even had this one yet. This is one I froze to see how it would, but this is that's the new Habanero Ranch. We took what Taco Bell did and we took out all the junk, made it non-dairy, and we made it ranch. Don't freeze it. I don't know if you can see this. Don't freeze it. I did it just to see what would happen. And you get this like real gross separation. Yeah. But yeah.
Did I ever, I'm going to divert for a second, Claire, because I know you'll love this. Did I ever tell you about the great mystery of 80 cases that went missing with I'm going to say it and then I'm going to delete. They couldn't find 80 cases of our hot sauce for a while. And they finally found them in the freezer.
Oh,
wow.
Because they kept giving us these bread boxes. They're like, just put them in bread boxes. No big deal. And we were like, okay. And they thought that was bread. So they put it in the freezer.
Yeah. I mean, some of mine would be fine, but none of these creamy based ones, this one or this one's even grosser. If you can see that. There's the back of it. That's the spicy mayo. And when I froze it, and there's no way. When you shake it up, there's no way you can get it back in there. And it gets really disgusting when you do that. So yeah, don't freeze those. Yeah, ours, I mean, there are times when it'll freeze when it's shipping, like when we're shipping direct to customers. And, I'll get somebody that'll be like, oh, I got my 3 bottles of sauce and one of them's leaking. And I went, didn't you have that big deep freeze out that way? Right. And my guess is it froze. And I usually replace them unless they can't come up with a picture for me, because then I think they're faking it.
So you get one. You get one freebie. And then after that, we start looking.
Yeah. If I know there's weather and, trucks were stuck in ice for 2 weeks or something, I'm like, yeah, probably froze.
All right. Last but not least, if Pepto-Bismol asked you to make a hot sauce actually using Pepto-Bismol, what flavors would you use and what kind of heat would you use?
God. I don't know that I can even answer that. That's so absurd. Make a sauce using Pepto-Bismol and what flavors? Oh, I know what I'd do. I'd make it ghost pepper flavored.
That's what I said originally, because I like ghost pepper.
I don't. See, and I'll never, ever have to eat it because I don't like ghost peppers.
That's great.
That's gross. That would be really gross. It's a new spin on creamy for sure.
There we go. Well, that's it. We're done.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Really great getting to know you, Stacy.
You as well. Both of you as well. I really appreciate the offer. I appreciate you taking the time with me.
Yeah, and I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. So I just thank you for all the stuff that you guys inadvertently did to guide us to where we are.
Well, again, I do think it's all a community, and I like I say, I don't think ketchup's ever going to say that. So, I think that's what makes us unique, right? Can you imagine Heinz saying to Hunt's, it's a community? Nope. It's not going to happen. I said we were out of town and we came back so I could be here for this. And I said to my dog sitter, I have to go do a podcast. And she goes, oh, fun. And I went, no, I hate him. I didn't hate this. So thank you. I didn't hate this. This was fun. Yeah. And if I get back to Moscow, I'm coming to you.
Yes.
And I'll see you. And I've always wanted to go to Vermont, and it's kind of in my head.
You are absolutely welcome to come and visit. And if you want to see a facility, you could come and visit my facility.
I love that.
Yes, absolutely. I love giving people's tours and showing people things. So
yeah, my lead bottler, they have said over and over, I don't know if I've told you this, Claire, that they want to come visit your facility so badly. And I'm like, oh, and they're like, no, I really want to see it. They're your biggest fan, Claire.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, they are welcome. They are welcome to come and see my facility.
You hear that, Viv?
There is, I will say, there is something magical about seeing a kettle of sauce, right? And having it pumped up and you can't see it. And then it goes, usually it's through the ceiling and over the hill and down the valley and, wherever it goes. And then it comes out and then you walk over to the fillers and you say, That's my filler noise, by the way. Unless something gets stuck in one of them, and then that's not a good noise. And you see your bottles filling, right? And it's so magical I think, weirdo, total dork here. I think it's so magical to see that. And then, they run through the lines and all the things that happen on the lines, right? Your bottle gets put on, it gets sealed, labeled, they check it for metal. Thank God we've never found that, right? But it is really, really magical, I think.
I agree.
I love it. Actually, it reminds me, so we don't have a clean in place like tubing through the air system, but the building that we bought had one when we moved in. It was an applesauce cannery before. And we moved in such a hurry. We moved in 2020 and things were crazy. And we just left a lot of that piping up because it was up in the sky and we didn't have to worry about it. But it meant that anytime we were building anything new, we could just reach up and grab some sanitary piping and bring it down and use it for whatever we needed to use it for. It was fantastic. That stuff's expensive.
That is expensive.
It was great.
Yeah. And some of the big plants, none of mine are that big, the two that I work with, but some of the big giant plants, you see it running. I was at an oils plant. They did some of these for us. I can't do them to where they're not super expensive, but they were so kind as to run some for me to see it and see how it would work. And we're too small for them. That plant, it was miles of that tubing. And I was like, holy cow. But that's what it takes, right?
You can tour the Ben & Jerry's factory here in Vermont, and you can see the whole production floor. And I haven't done the tour in a while, so I assume it hasn't changed. But they've got the cooling tower that basically fill the pints, and then they just spiral like either down or up. I don't know which way it's going from when they fill it, but it just spirals through this thing. And by the time it gets to the end of the spiral, it's rock hard, and then they can pack it. And it's amazing and huge.
I'd love that. Cherry Garcia all day.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
All right. We should let you go. We're actually over time, and this is the one time I'm not sorry about. This has been a Spike Mind Media production.